everybody, and welcome to Dizzyknits. This is my first ever video talking about my knitting and sewing and crafty pursuits. Now, if you are a regular on this channel, first of all, welcome back. Don't worry, I'm not changing into a knitting vlog, but once a month I'm going to be talking about my craft stuff. The rest of the time, the content's going to remain the same. Lots of beauty, lots of hair. In fact, I got my Petit Var box in today as well, so that's going to be going up a little bit later. But if you are interested in crafty knitting type stuff, thank you for being here, and let's get started. So, I am going to try to link everything I talk about down below in the info box. But the first thing I want to talk about is some finished objects. So I have two finished objects this month, which is pretty exciting. Both of them were part of knit-alongs on Ravelry. So the first was on the Creative Musings podcast group, and it was a knit-along that was the Rockabilly Summer Cal. You know I had to do this. And it was hosted by Casey Mara and Amy Appel, I think that's how you say her last name, who is Poison Girls on Instagram and on Ravelry. And we knit one of her designs. Amy has this beautiful collection of designs that are all inspired by Greece. So they all have a rockabilly vibe. And this is what we made. It's the angel face turban. So it's a hand knit turban made out of sock yarn. It's got ribbing around the bottom, this gorgeous eyelet pattern, this really cool, very neat technique to create pleating so that it fits really nice to the back of the head. And then it has a little self-tying bow. Now, this cal ends at the end of the month, so there's only a couple more days left. But this was an awesome pattern. I will definitely make one of these again. I like the idea, I wear a lot of headscarves, and I like the idea of, in the winter, I kind of would switch to hats because I get cold. But I love that this is like a warm, cozy, woolly headscarf look, like turban look, but still warm and cozy. So I love that. Also, Amy was amazing about supporting her pattern. She did a couple updates during the course of the cal as we had questions, answered our questions beautifully, and it was awesome. Casey was super great and a lovely cheerleader for everybody. So yeah, if you're not following Casey on the Creative Musings podcast, it is here on YouTube and it's fantastic. So yeah, she has a very retro style, which really spoke to me. That's why I started following her. And then I also, speaking of retro style, I also participated in the Untangling Knots outfit along, which is hosted by Andy Satterlin, who's an amazing designer on Ravelry. She's Andy Sat on Instagram. And I created, you have to knit one garment, sew one garment, and I hardly ever sew. So that was interesting because I can sew, I just don't prefer to do it very often. But I knit myself a Myrna sweater, which is a V-neck cropped, very 1950s shaped sweater. Typically, this sweater is a 3/4 length or short sleeve, but I made mine a full sleeve. It is in Cascade 220 Superwash in the ruby colorway. It is covered in cat hair because that's my reality. I have a mostly white cat. And then these are the buttons. These are vintage buttons I got off of Etsy. They're not an exact match on the red, but I actually think that's kind of quirky and I like it a lot. This sweater fits beautifully and I've already got yarn to make a second one. And then the pieces that I made for the outfit along part, the sewn part, is I made this dress. It is a variation on the lady skater dress. So it is just an A-line dress with a waist seam. And I changed it to a V-neck instead of the regular lady skater scoop neck. I got the fabric from Girl Charlie, and unfortunately the fabric is a lot thinner than I thought it would be. Like, I can kind of see through it. So this ended up being more like a house dress. But it's very comfortable, it's very soft. But going forward, if I got a fabric like this again, I would probably just stick to having it as a blouse. So then I had to make something else to go with it. So I ended up making a skirt. And this is out of a nice heavy fabric from Girl Charlie. And it's just a very simple polka dot skirt. with like kind of a yoga wide, like yoga waistband. It's very stretchy. It's a heavier weight knit. I have a string I forgot to cut. Just ignore that. But yeah, it comes to about my knee, and it looks really nice with the red sweater and like a little black t-shirt or something. So that is my outfit. And I'm really happy with all these things. And like I said, I'll try to link to everything down below. Okay, what am I knitting right now? I only have 2 things on my needles right now. And one of them I cast on last night. But this is part of another Cal. Yes, another Cal. This is part of the year-long Harry Potter Cal posted by Katie from Inside number 23, which if you're not watching her podcast, she is so cute. She's English, and she's got a pug, and she's just, I love her. Katie, hi, if you're watching, or Casey, or anyone if you're watching. You're not, but that's okay. But thank you for doing what you do, because you're very inspiring. So this is my Patronus shawl, and I will put a link down below of the designer. You can find it on Ravelry as a paid pattern. My cat is here sniffing yarn. Remy, say hello to Remy. The mostly white cat who gets cat hair and everything. So the Patronus shawl, I am on the second lace repeat. There's the first lace repeat. And then there are these stripes. The shawl has sort of a diamond shape. Moving the cat again. So it starts out quite narrow and then has this lovely sort of spine detail all the way up. It has these stripes, and then it increases. I'm at the widest point of the shawl. This is the most stitches it ever has, which really aren't that many. And then it starts decreasing down, doing that stripey pattern again. So I have to do the lace repeat one more time, and then I can start those decreases. But the balls of yarn that I'm using are lovely. They're both from Fly Designs, which is a hand-dyed yarn company, which is actually here in Washington. And it is, I can't remember which one is which, but one is Kashmara and one is Poshmara. So they both have cashmere and merino, but one is a fingering weight, which is the green color, which is in evergreen. And then one is light fingering to lace weight, and that is in this colorway, which is called Brick. But this is the softest, most lovely thing I think I've ever knit up, ever. It is so cozy and cuddly, and I cannot wait to use it. I love these like deep fall colors. It almost reminds me of oxidized copper with the green and the sort of variegated brown. So yeah, I am so excited. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I want to make this shawl again, possibly as a gift for someone at some point. It's just really great. And then I cast on a sock like last night. So I have never really knit very many socks. I've knit like 2 ever in my life, and I've been knitting for almost 20 years. But I felt like it was time to embrace socks because there's so many really pretty sock yarns. So I ended up getting some Croy sock from Michaels, and I got these 2 balls, which are in the cameo colors way, and then I also got Gentry Gray from them. And so I am knitting the Hermione Everyday Sock, which will also go in that year-long Harry Potter cal. So basically you knit a Harry Potter inspired item, you put it in a finished objects thread for each month, and it counts towards that month, you know, and you can enter as many times as you want throughout the year. So this is the progress I have on my Hermione Everyday Sock. I've got the Gentry Gray on the toe. I've got a little bit of the foot done. I'm doing toe up, obviously. I really like how the colors, you can see on the flat side how these colors, it goes from like that light purple into a darker sort of charcoal purple. So I'm really liking how this is knitted up. This is going to be a fairly thick sock, but I love the idea of having some boot socks that are very warm this winter. And I'm doing these on size 1 Haya lace. No, I'm sorry, Chiago red lace needles. And actually that's what the Patronus shawl is on too. It's on Chiago red lace number 5s. So that is it for the in progress. I'm going to show you guys some stash now because I have, this is over the last like 2 months. This is my first episode, so I'm covering more. So because I made the lady skater dress and I liked it so very much, I decided to make 2 more lady skaters. So I got this from fabric.com. It's a quite thick, dark charcoal gray fabric. It's a knit. It's very soft, but as I said, quite thick, almost like a bottom weight. But I think it'll be really nice for sort of a winter version of that dress. And then I also have this from Girl Charlie, which is from their Homestead collection, which is this beautiful navy blue and sort of fall floral with, like, you know, some mustard shades and some olive green and a little bit of pink. And I thought I'd make a lady skater with that and then do the collar, like around the collar, the ribbing, you know, that goes around, binding for the neck, with some leftovers of the gray. So that is very cool. Hopefully I'll get that done in the next month or so. I'm obviously knitting and sewing towards fall, since summer's almost over and I want new things to wear for the new season. And now I've got some knitting stash enhancement. I went a little crazy, but I recently went through my entire collection and got rid of 3 bags of clothes and 2 bags of yarn. I donated them. I've sent them to friends. It's just things that were in my collection, like I said, for like the last 15 years that I never enjoyed working with, that didn't fit my personality. They weren't colors I loved anymore. You know, you buy things on sale when you first start knitting because you just want to knit stuff. And then you rapidly realize as you get more experience, you get a different palette. And that's what happened. Basically, my palette changed. Now, in this case, I was able to save something from the chopping block. I had a yarn from Online Yarn Company, which is a very nice sock yarn. But it was like shades of like tan and beige and blue. Just wasn't me. So I ended up over dyeing it with food coloring and Kool-Aid. Still kind of smells like cherry Kool-Aid, with a red color. And I got this really cool sort of burgundy, and the places where it was blue turned kind of purpley burgundy, and the places where it was more beige took that red orange that I dyed over it really, really well. So that is a rescue from my stash yarn that I'm so glad. I love over dyeing things and finding a new way to repurpose things if you just don't like the color but you like the yarn. It's such a great idea. And then I got another, Michael's had a big sale, so I ended up getting another pair of Koi sock, so I can either make another sock, or, I forgot to say this, the Rockabilly Summer Cow Angel Face is done in a Koi sock colorway. It is Clover is what this was done in. So I might even make a second in the navy blue, but this is the Cadet blue color. And I'm not sure exactly, but it's either going to be socks or another one of those little head pieces. I may make the little headpiece. I don't know. Anyway, and then I got this. This is more Cascade 220. This is in Cordovan, which is this gorgeous dark brown with sort of a reddish plum undertone. And I got 3 skeins of that, which is exactly how many it took for me to make the Myrna sweater. So I'm going to make that same sweater, but in brown this time. And I got that from Little Knits, which is a really awesome online yarn store that I actually used to work for, and they were great. They're here in Washington State, so shipping was quick. And then I also got this, and this yarn I'm not 100% sure about. This is Cascade Longwood, which is interesting. This is the color, and I did some swatching. It is a really pretty sport weight yarn, like a sport DK. I get about 5 stitches per inch on it, which is a good gauge for me. And it says it's sport. It is 100% superwash ultrafine merino, but it's a little bit of a weird, it's not lofty like it's very, the ply, the twist on it is this weird like fluffy kind of twist. I don't even know if I can explain it. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do with this. I think I might save it because there's supposed to be another cow coming up in August or maybe September for Andy Satterlin for her Salal sweater, which I've been wanting to make for a really long time. So I might save it for that. And then finally, I got my first mystery yarn. I decided to go ahead and shopped on Etsy. Look at this cute packaging. And I took advantage of a mystery yarn offer from Hot Knit Yarn. I've never bought from them before, but I thought it might be fun to try a mystery. So you pick out your base and then you just buy the yarn, and whatever she sends you is what you get. So the Hot Knit Yarn mystery yarn, it was $18.50. I think it's Haute Knit, Haute knit yarn, maybe. And she will just send you one of her yarns. And here it is. Oh wow, this is my first time opening this package. It's the Cocoa Fingering Base, which is 490 yards of 100% superwash merino. And it's called Go Big. And look at, oh my God, this is gorgeous. I love this. So I had looked at all of the yarns on her shop and I was like, I pretty much like everything, so I might as well just order a mystery one. And I'm so glad I did. So this has shades of like kind of more violet purple, shades of a deeper, more blue purple. I wonder if I can get the, okay, let's see. I wanted to get the label off but not lose the label. And then we can open it up and really have a look. Oh my God. Where's the skein? There we go. Okay. So that is the skein. It is gorgeous. And look, there's some little flecks of green in here. Oh my God, it's like this beautiful, it reminds me of African violets, which makes me think of my grandmother. My grandmother always had African violets in her house, and she had a real green thumb with them. And she's passed on now, but she's one of the main reasons I like vintage style so much. So I love the idea of making something like this. And thinking of with her this, and thinking of her and those African violets she always kept in the basement. Well, not really the basement. I grew up in Louisiana, but it was sort of a sunken living room part of the house. We called it the basement. But yeah, that has that vibe. Oh, I love it. It's so soft. It's so squishy. Oh my goodness, so squishy. So yeah, so that's it. That's everything I have to talk to you guys about today. I hope that this was enjoyable for you. I really had fun talking about some of my favorite things because I love knitting, and so it was really, really fun for me. So I'll see you guys next month. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.